Yes, I think pretty soon it's going to be travel time. We need to get out there. Welcome to my show. Okay. We've thought long and hard for places that we want to visit. It's always been a lot of decision making. I mean, I'm not going to make a big trip to go somewhere just to see rice fields. I mean, there are some kind of obscure, out of the way places that I certainly wouldn't spend a lot of money and time and effort to get there just because historically this has been, for hundreds of years, has been a place with rice fields. No, I'm not going to spend the money on that. You know, my perfect place, unfortunately, they exist, but really hard to find. Remember, there's over 7,000 islands in the Philippines, but they're crowded with people. And to me, that not always the best experience. For example, Boracay, a lot of people have been there. And Boracay, they have nice beaches and they have nice things there. But I don't know, Boracay is just too touristy. You know, I don't know many places that are not really. I mean, if it's up to me, I'd go to some isolated island somewhere that had good accommodations if that was possible. And, just being away from people. Okay. Having some interesting sights to see there, of course, to make it worthwhile for traveling there. Okay. I'm not a touristy type of guy, and you wonder why I haven't traveled many places. There's a lot of reasons why we haven't traveled a lot of places. I'm going to tell you those reasons. But before we get there, I will say that what I look for is, oceans are always beautiful. You always want to be around the ocean. Like Surigao, that would be nice, but it takes a lot to get to Surigao. It's kind of a hassle from what I've seen people traveling there. Of course, you want to see some wave action. There's a little wave action. Unless you're a surfer, what the fuck do you care? You know what I mean? A lot of places are basically geared toward people who want to do scuba diving, uh, things like that. Surfing, scuba diving. I don't scuba dive. I can't. I'm not physically able to do that. My ear, and basically, I'm kind of against the whale watching places. And there's actually several places in the Philippines for whale watching. Um, it's goes against the natural grain of things, I think, because they feed these whales and they're taking them from their natural ability to go out there and seek their own food, and that's the only reason they come by. And the waters is just dotted with boats making money off Mother Nature. Well, that's what tourism is anyway. They're making money off nature. They're going to take you to different places, and that's the economy. Tourism is the economy here. That's where they make their money. I'm really against the whale watch shit. I mean, swimming at the whales. I don't think people should be anywhere near the whale sharks. Leave them be. Don't throw food in the water to get them to come. It's just going against the natural elements of the creature, and the water is just dotted with all these people trying to make money off you on these poor whales. I mean, that's not who I am. Sure, it'd be great to see a whale like that. I've seen whales before. I'll have to shut my door here. I have seen whales up close and personal in my life, both in Washington State and even in Hawaii. Um, Leave them be. Just leave them be. And if they come up to your boat, that's a different story. There are definitely laws in Hawaii where you're supposed to keep a distance from the whales and so forth. But if they happen to come up to your boat, you're within the law and you're okay. And to the tourist delight, of course, and to the tourist uh, personnel that are giving these tours, it's a big plus for them that their customers have gotten up close to a whale or whatever it might be. What's perfect for me? Am I going to go to Boracay to see Jasper talking about his, you know, all the promiscuity of Filipinas? Talking, there's certain places I don't visit because I get people related to it, like Bohol. Actually, Bohol has some nice places that our resident there, Mr. Michael Fazio, has never been to. In all the years he's living out there, where's he gone that's so beautiful? Where's he ever ventured? Bohol's supposed to have some really nice other beaches and interesting things out there, and jungle area. I mean, there's supposed to be some beautiful stuff on it. You know why I don't want to go there? Because Michael Fazio lives there. Not that I'm afraid of running into him. It just left too many tourists. And they don't leave you alone on the beach, I heard, and some vendors trying to sell you something. I don't like that kind of stuff, Look, I traveled the United States, traveled around with some German guys, a couple I met. I traveled by myself. I've been to some really interesting sites. But, I can remember back, this tourist German couple, and they wanted to go to all the touristy spots, And I didn't want to go to be the touristy spots. I went to see the Pueblo cave dwellings. That was interesting. But then it wasn't too touristy. It wasn't too bad. But, when I was out in Monument Valley, that was nice because there wasn't many people around. It was me in the desert. I was in the high country in Colorado. I've seen real wild horses that didn't belong to anybody running across the prairie. And I was like, wow, that to me, that's the kind of stuff I like to see. It has nothing to do with somebody making money. Okay, tourist traps. I don't like tourist traps. I mean, do you blame me, really? Yeah. I know Boracay is overrated. I'm not going to waste my time. And there's somebody there I don't like, and I'm liable to punch him in the fucking face. And it spoiled it for me. Whether it's Fazio in Bohol or whether it's Jasper in Boracay, things like that, I thought about going to Baguio, but the only attraction there is that the fact we could go up into the farm fields and collect fresh strawberries and other stuff, which is nice. But is there any other reason to go there? I heard the pollution settles in there a lot. It's extremely crowded. It's cool, which is what I like. I like the cooler temperatures, but I've been reluctant to go there because transportation to get around, I heard, is, I don't know, and it's not cheap either, actually. Transportation and accommodations is not cheap. I don't like to go to the number one rated tourist spots. I don't. I'm one of these guys that's perfectly happy in nature, If I was able to climb mountains, I'd climb up there and pitch a fucking tent. That's who I am. You don't know that part of me. I do have an adventurous side of me. But as I've gotten a little older, some of these things are kind of impossible for me to do. Okay, so I'm just realistic of my abilities or disabilities, okay? At a younger age, I used to do shit. I climbed up the side of Boulder Falls with these other local Colorado guys I met there that were backpackers, local dudes. I've walked in deserts. I was even in White Sands Monument, New Mexico. Jesus Christ, I went there alone. I had a taxi driver actually drive me to the edge of this, and it's thousands of square miles of pure white gypsum. Now, that was a feeling that I can never explain to anybody. Okay, that's, White Sands Monument, that's what it's called. And they did nuclear testing there in the past. You probably heard of it. I've been to places like this on my own, independently, traveled across the United States. I never did European backpack tours, backpack traveling. I can't say I've ever done that. But I have traveled across the United States to some what I found to be some interesting places. Okay, so I got those memories. As a younger man, I felt safer, but as an older man traveling around, and shit, I hitchhiked. I did all that shit. Okay, I've gotten off Greyhound buses and went on my own. I use Greyhound as my base transportation to get to these different places. Yeah, hello. So I've been around. For people that think I've never done anything in my life, I've seen things that you guys have probably never seen. Okay, yeah, I have. I've sat down with Navajo Indians out there and talked, just shit talk. I've sat around. We were rescued by Navajo Indians when the car we were renting, and we rented from a company called Rent a Wreck Incorporated. And some of you might know when I say might heard of that, and that's exactly what you were renting. It was a wreck. Our car had bald tires on it, and it happened we got a flat, and the tire that was in the trunk was equally bald and flat. So these Navajo Indians came by with a pickup truck, and they were nice enough to take us to the nearest general post, and it cost us nothing but some kind of a popular melon that's in the desert that they love. Didn't ask for any money. Okay, we had our flat fixed and everything else. I've been to a little town called Blanding, Utah, which you probably never heard of that. In the desert. Had a little town there with a school and a high school. And there was this little hotel, and you could look it up, called the Blanding Hotel, which might still be there. Blanding, Blanding, where I met this really nice gal. Her father ran the place. And there were no accommodations for us that night, but they put us up in the laundry room with cots. They accommodated us. She came up to me with some milk and tacos. And I'm like, wow, thank you. She was kind of smitten on me, Little small towns like that, when foreigners come in there, oh yeah, outsiders, you get a lot of attention from the local gals that don't see anything new in these towns. They're boring little sleepy towns, which is fine for them. Nothing comes through there without anybody else knowing, hey, these guys from out of state came in. That girl's probably thinking about it to this day. We sat and laid on a trampoline that they had back there at night, and we looked out at the stars in the sky. You would think you were out there in the twilight because the skies were so clear. You could see all the constellations. We sat there. We weren't doing anything crazy. We just sat there, and I looked at the clearest sky I've ever seen, other than some areas in Hawaii. The clearest skies you've ever seen. I've seen things and done things that a lot of people in here have not done. I just don't talk about all of them. Okay. But as far as me finding a destination out here, and I said there's a lot of reasons I haven't traveled. One being I just really haven't figured out where the hell I want to go. And all the time I've lived out here, I never really sat down and thought, wouldn't it be nice to go here? A couple of places I thought about, but I never did. Secondly, sometimes my back does act up on me. But when I have long rides, and there's a series of transportation that you got to take to get from point A to point B, it's kind of a bummer to me. Ooh, bummer. It is. And, sometimes it's uncomfortable for me. There's your answer. It's not money, nothing like that. It's what you have to take to get there. Now, as a younger man, I didn't mind doing all that shit, getting from point A to point B and whatever it took. That was pretty cool. Okay, let's see. I am 69 next month. In great shape. Traveled to China, Vietnam, Philippines, Thailand, Cambodia, and Korea by myself. 2 years ago, I noticed I was no longer 40. Yeah, you will notice that, won't you? Yeah, I've slowed down a bit, folks. I mean, I admit that. There are things going on with me. I mean, I don't have any bad health problems, sometimes more mechanical, things like that. Maybe some small ailments, which are not diseases or anything like that. Thank goodness for small miracles. But I'm generally in good health, except for my joints, things like that can act up every now and then if I'm in a position that is really uncomfortable. Yeah, actually, excuse me, let me get, speaking of positions and getting comfortable, let me do that right now. If I could lay on my bed instead of being side saddled, and that's what kills my posture. That's what kills my back. So there you go. Yeah, I'm all for travel, man. I dig it, man. I really do. I feel bad that we haven't traveled a lot of places. I'd like to take her out of the country, too. I heard it's such a hassle now for even a Filipina to get out of the Philippines to travel to other Asian countries. Have you heard that, too? I've been hearing that. Some of them they don't allow. They want so much from you, and they don't always allow you to go. I mean, I think a lot of Filipinos are kind of imprisoned in a way in their own country because there's a lot of requirements to even leave the country to go to another Asian country. I mean, who would have thought? Really? I don't know. Yeah. So one of the places we thought about is Palawan, and of course, here's the thing: we could wind up in Puerto Princesa because it does offer a lot there, a little variety of everything you want. You're going to be around a lot of people, but they do have malls. If you get a rainstorm and it ruins your whole vacation, you can at least go to the malls and do some shopping and hit some good restaurants if you don't feel like Filipino food all the time. That's like your last straw and something like that. Puerto Princesa, if you want to go to Palawan El Nido over there, it takes about 5.5 hours of transportation to get. Okay, so I don't think there's a direct route because the airport's in Puerto Princesa, and I don't know what they have, El Nido and places like that. All right, then they got the underground river over in the El Nido area, I guess. No, is that actually? That might be actually in Puerto Princesa. All it really is, it's a fucking cave, but they want to charge you 2,200 pesos per head just to take a bonka ride or whatever through a tunnel that has stalagmites and stuff like that hanging down. There's bats just to go out to the other entrance. What a scam that is, man. I mean, you know how many people take that? I mean, if you were in the tourist industry in Palawan, you got it fucking made in the shade. As long as it ain't raining, you got it made in a proverbial shade. Because what they charge you, I've researched all this on these little rides on a boat to take you anywhere and to take you into the underground river and this and that and this and that. Come on, 2,200 per head for maybe like a 20-minute little boat ride to take you through a cave. So two people, okay, 2,000, okay. So it's going to cost you over $55 per head, 110, $120 to go on a boat to take you through a 20 or 25-minute little ride slowly through a fucking cave just to look at bats and stalagmites and to come out the other side. Nah, man, I'm not into that. Now, I'd be into that if I was with my own boat and it wasn't a tour shit. Oh, yeah, man, I love exploring shit like that. Cave exploring? I love that kind of shit. But to be with hundreds of people behind you, and I heard there's a big wait to get a boat that's going to take you, and that's not for me, man. That's just not for me. That's not for me. Okay, it's not difficult with a mature woman to travel from the Philippines. I heard that too, yeah. Immigration questions the older man with a girl that's 35 years younger. Yeah, I get it. I heard, you know what? I heard that too. I heard that too. Yeah, yeah, and for reasons you could probably understand, right? But we're thinking about Puerto Princesa. I explored other places, and I can't see traveling to a place that doesn't look any different than where I've been. Stay where I'm at for that, Mac. Take her out to a nice dinner. You know, I mean, an island is an island unless it's an island, if you know what I mean by that. If it's not well traveled, if it's nature's natural beauty without being stained by civilization that much. Now, you're not going to find that out here anywhere in the world. Well, you can actually, really, anywhere in the world somewhere. But, you want to go to the jungles of Guyana or something, I don't know. You'll even find natives out there. You can't go anywhere without finding the human presence out there. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm a sociable guy. If you met me in person, I could talk your head off. Okay. But, I'm a social creature. But I tend to keep to myself a lot because I'm more comfortable that way. I've been around a lot of people all my life. I lived in towns and cities that were crowded with people. And I love, I won't say my isolation because I'm really not isolated, but I love where I live because I don't have to be around a shitload of people where I live if I don't want. And there are some really nice areas on the islands here, including Bantayan Township, where there's some really nice beaches. Some of them that we never even been to over in Bantayan Township. Okay, it takes a little bit of traveling, and you can do it by trike. We're yet to go there. I thought about Malapascua, which we could access from the islands here. Takes a bit of while on a bonker boat, but there really isn't that much there. I mean, except if you want to go diving and see the thresher sharks, and I don't dive, so that's out for me. So yeah, I'm really picky where I go because it's my money. I want it well spent. I want to create memories. Okay, I could think of spending my money on something else rather than going to see something I've already seen or experienced, or everything seems the same out here. It's not typical of the shark there, but okay, am I having a bad signal because I'm losing a couple of viewers here? I wouldn't be surprised, and at the time it is actually. But anyway, with that being said, we'll keep this to a short anyway. Yeah, we are thinking about a trip, and we're not gonna tell anyone when. And when we're actually there, we'll do some uploads and whatnot. But we haven't totally decided yet. But I have a lot of requirements for where I go. I'm not just going to go to any town and see the same fucking trikes and sorry stores. I can stay around here in Cebu if I want to see that. Okay, I like culture. I like exploring native culture that goes back a long time, their traditions. I love architecture, old architecture. There is one town, I can't think of what it was settled by the Spanish. This one town, and it's probably never you probably never heard of it, begins with a T. And this is as old world as you can get. Because all the buildings in there are original structures. There's really isn't much to do there, but if you're really into old world living, which I kind of like, you know, and things are back, people are living like they did hundreds of years ago. That's interesting to me. I would even be willing to visit a tribe as long as they're not headhunting anymore. And believe it or not, there are still tribes in the Philippines that'll kill you, eat you even. Oh, you find it outlandish? No, that's true. Just know where you're going, okay? That's what I'm saying. Don't go to somewhere in Mindanao where there's all these rebels out there and they want to, take tourists for hostage. And a couple of Canadians I could think of, and a lot of other people would tell you that they had their heads chopped off. You know what I mean? Okay, good. You hear me fine. We don't really want to know. And we just spent about an hour ago, we were looking at a particular, and we were looking at Palawan, that stuff. But, when traveling becomes a real hassle to me, because first of all, I got to leave from here. So you're talking about a ferry ride to San Romeo, from San Romeo, traveling 3 hours to get to Cebu, from Cebu, for example, taking an airplane going to Cebu, taking an airplane to Manila. From there, if I want to go to Puerto Princesa, it's fairly straightforward. But then if you want to leave Puerto Princesa to go to Palawan, El Nido, and all those towns around there, it's going to cost you another 5, 6 hours of travel. Not to mention waiting time in between your transportation. And I'm not really sure I want to do that. So if I went out there, I might just go to Puerto Princesa, which a lot of people have had some pretty good experiences with. Yes, I'm going to be around a lot of people. Sometimes you got to give up things that you really want and be around a shitload of people. Sometimes you got to do that. Okay, so let's see. We haven't decided yet. And when we go, we're not telling anybody when and where. We just be out there and I'll provide some videos. That's for it. I'm not going to tell anybody where I'm at until I'm actually there or leaving. But yeah, I mean, with the 7,000 plus islands out here, I mean, I'm the kind of guy, I'm not kidding. I was watching this movie called The Amazon. And these guys are taking this boat through some deep areas of the Amazon River. Other than the climate being hot and humid, I could dig shit like that, man. I actually like it. It's, to your surprise, I actually like adventurous trips, something that I can handle anyway. I would like to go in a crocodile infested river. I seriously would. I would like to see crocodiles up and close, and I know they have some places out in the Philippines, down toward Mindanao area somewhere. I think a lot of crocodiles are put on display somewhere so people can make money. It's always about money. How can I make money? Let's get the biggest crocodile and let's put him on display. If they ever found the Bigfoot anywhere, they put the poor Bigfoot in a cage on display. I'm not into that. You know what I mean? That's how people are. Let's put some, extinct animal on display. Okay. You know, I'm not into that shit. I'm really against that. I'm also against zoos unless you have the type of zoo that is really built for the environment of the animal and is spacious enough to make an animal feel like they're not claustrophobic and closed in. I unfortunately have witnessed a few zoos in my life that did not provide that. It was pure hell for these poor animals. Pure hell. Welcome to humanity. Yeah. Welcome to humanity. Which is going to be gone in the future anyway. The only thing that's going to remain on the earth is going to be animals. It's going to be a restart of the earth. There's going to be a natural catastrophe that's going to happen, another meteor, something that's going to happen. And, life as we know it as it did a very long time ago when that big old asteroid hit the earth, and forgot how many years, the earth, well, the temperature went down and become all frozen, the whole fucking planet. Except I think on the South Pole, that was not totally affected, but there was 75% of the species on Earth disappeared. Do you guys realize, and listen to this, do you realize how many different species of animals was on this Earth before we were here? And certainly before an asteroid hit the Earth? You can even fathom? What I read and understood is that this planet was just overrun, just like people. We have like 8 billion people on the earth, almost 9 or something, whatever the figure is. There's that many animals here. Man could not have survived around the time of the dinosaurs. Neolithic times, Jurassic. People could not have survived. They would have been a meal to these flesh eating dinosaurs and creatures, and there was plenty of them. And some of them were oversized, and some of the surviving creatures we have today are merely minuscule compared to the size they used to be, such as the elephant. There was a woolly mammoth. It was huge. Crocodiles were even bigger. Everything was bigger. It was like this sci-fi movie where radiation made everything grow big and nasty. They were out to feed on anything they could. Everything from pterodactyls, raptors, T-Rex, rhinoceros. I mean, you name it. There were creatures on this planet that you'd piss your pants if you seen them. Never mind the movies. If you could transport yourself back in time, I don't think you'd want to do that. I don't think you'd want to do that. Thank goodness that we're separated from the dinosaurs because, okay. When I put on a show, let me tell you. Although I'm going to have to get off here and maybe get an early lunch or something. God, I can't believe what they're eating in there. They eat well. They bought a bunch of shrimp or prawns, and they got all kinds of Filipino food. I'm saying, what am I going to eat? Oh, I could eat prawns if they are, breaded and fried in olive oil. Of course, if the head's taken off and the legs, I don't want to eat anything with legs and eyes on it. If it's well prepared, I love prawns. I have nothing. That's one of the seafood that I can eat other than cod. I like cod. Again, the same thing. If it's well breaded, well coated with the right coating, and it's baked or fried, it's great stuff. But I'm not a big seafood eater. Not really. About what I told you is about what I eat. Shit, I grew up in a family that has fish sticks for dinner, for God's sakes. Van de Camp, which is the worst in the world. The coating they put on there, and the shit inside is not pure fish. It's minced. It's made from all different pieces of different fish. Now, Gordon's, if you have to go frozen, and you want a good frozen fish, I would say go to Gorton's, Gorton. I grew up with that too. Gordon's is a better quality. They even gave you something good. I mean, whitefish was good. Cod, yes, absolutely. Now, I used to go, even in Seattle, had a lot of them because, we had the ports there. And there's a place called Ivar's and other places that had fish and chips. And it was really, really good. Now, I don't know about you guys, but there was tradition in Washington State where, forget the ketchup, okay? There was always fish and chips, and you'd use a really good tartar sauce with your fish. even for the French fries, the chips, whatever. I still do that now. I buy tartar sauce for my French fries and stuff like that. If I have fish, the rarity I have something I could eat. Yeah. Now, milkfish out here isn't too bad. If you ever eaten milkfish is not too bad. Okay, that's not too bad. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed my show, but I covered quite a bit actually. But yeah, I'm actually very particular where I go for my money, for my time, for my effort, for the toil, stress, whatever, of getting from point A to point Z, whatever. I want it to be smooth, fluent, without a lot of hassle, to make my experience a really good one. Okay, I was adventurous growing up. I mean, I got together even with a guy from my college at School of Visual Arts. I remember we had a wonderful trip. I went with this guy with his van. It was in the 70s, of course. And we took our camera equipment and we went to the Blue Ridge Mountains in Virginia. It was beautiful. I remember it was really chilly up there. I forgot what time of year, a lot of fog. And the landscape was so eerie. It was beautiful. Deers. And wasn't really tall mountain. I think their highest mountains in there was either 3 to 5,000 feet, I think. And we met some other people that were camping out there. I met this girl Beverly from Brooklyn, of all places. I got together with her later on. She was a hippie chick with the floppy hat and all that, hillbilly hat and all that. And she had the jeans, overall type jeans on. She's pretty cool. Her name was Beverly. Jewish gal, of course. Love the Jewish women. They were the best looking women. The hottest women ever dated were Jewish women. Seriously speaking, Jewish women. And they put out too, by the way. Jewish women always put out. I never met one I'd go out with that did not. They were pretty out there, okay? Sexually, they were pretty out there if they liked you. And a lot of them were very attractive. Very attractive women. They come from pretty good families, doctors, lawyers, businessmen. I met them, you know. I met poor ones too, but Jewish women, they were pretty cool. I've even dated a Norwegian woman, straight from Sandeid in Norway, which is close to or outside of Oslo. And she lived amongst the fjords and all that stuff. The language, the accent, everything. I dated her for a little while up in Seattle. Yeah, pretty cool. I've had my experiences, let's put it that way. Different nationalities. I most certainly have. So, but people believe that Frank never went anywhere in all his life. Frank never experienced anything in his life. You're so wrong. You're so wrong. I've seen places and things, experience that probably none of you ever have. Yeah. I've even been to Indian Native American powwows. I've been in a sweat tent. I'm not shitting. I've done things, guys. Okay? I've traveled independently. Backpack and camera equipment, man. I've seen and experienced things that a lot of you probably never have. Mussels, pasta, and red sauce with Italian bread and fresh butter. I'm not into mussels. Pasta, I'm fine. Yeah, okay. Anyway, I really hope you enjoyed my show. There's a lot about me that you guys really don't know, and you make a lot of assumptions based on what you hear on YouTube. I don't go around, I'm not a child predator. I don't go around scamming people like to put out. I don't do anything of that sort. Never will in my life. Okay? And people like to turn things around. But if you knew me, you grew up with me into adulthood and onward, you'd know things about me that you probably would never believe. That I can do, that I did, okay? What I've experienced. When I leave this earth, I'm going out with a smile because I made certain accomplishments that I wanted to do. Okay. A lot of people say, he went to college for photography. Yet he holds his camera upside down when he makes a show. Look, if I was really, really into my work here on YouTube, then I would learn editing. I would do the whole ball of wax. But it's not worth the time to do that. It really isn't, okay? I'd love to do travel pictorials, but like I said, there were limitations on my travel and why. Okay? I really envy these younger guys, even some of the older ones that managed to do it, that travel around on a motorcycle. They're going everywhere with their backpack. They got drones and they're getting overviews and everything else. They're really good editors. They incorporate the music in there perfectly, fades and all that. They do all that stuff, segueing from one scene to another, fades and so far, and swipes and all that stuff. I mean, I would love to do that. Okay, resources that are not necessary to do that. Really, I don't have a big show. I'm a very grassroots, simple show. I'm not into editing, partially because of laziness, and partially because it takes a lot of time to do that. I don't have the patience. If I want to say something, I just get on my show and say it. Now, the only thing I'd like to have on my show is some really interesting graphics as an intro on all my shows. Something I could use every time. It says something about me or where I live or something like that. That's cool with the music and all that. And maybe someday, if I'm still alive, I may actually do that. Yeah. Yeah, you too, Geogate. I don't know how you say your name. You're okay in my book for whatever it's worth. Well, thank you. I really appreciate that. I wish people would learn to appreciate me a lot more. But you see, when you got some very negative outside influences on there, it's hard for anybody, not just myself, to put on a show that's going to really capture the masses of viewers. You know, word goes out about somebody, and you got very naive people that believe everything they hear on here. They can't, gotta judge people for themselves, not based on what other people think about you. That's the sad part about it. Considering the length of time I've been on here, I should have been a huge channel. Bust a thumbs up while I'm at it, guys. I should have been a huge channel, but people are running interference. That's what it is. They don't want to see you succeed. But you know what? I'm okay with it all. I get to come on my own show, get to say what I need to say, whether I make a dime or I don't. It's okay. It's a hobby. That's all it is. I'm not going to depend on YouTube to survive. Unfortunately, for many out there, they are depending on YouTube to survive. They depend on the revenue from YouTube. That's pretty sad. You shouldn't have even came out here if that's what you're going to do. And you have to rely on that. With that being said, remember, I'm here because you are there. Please subscribe to my channel if you have not. Share and hit the notification button. You know what my next show is. I don't ask much for my viewers. Not much at all. Never did. Never will. Just appreciate you coming here and hear what I have to say. Not everybody has to agree with what I talk about. That's okay. You have that freedom to do so. But come down here, check me out, what I have to say. You might find that you may actually learn something, not only about me that you never knew, or, well, about life itself. A lot of you guys are not experiencing life, and that doesn't necessarily mean traveling. It's your train of thought. It's a lot of things. It's how you think. It's what you think. It's what you don't think. Later, guys.